Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So on this one, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about strings, specifically behaviors you can achieve with them, properties of strings, what you can do with them. We're going to go over the Python syntax for strings and how you'd achieve the behavior you could do with that Python syntax, how you transfer that to Java and achieve that same thing with Java. So let's go ahead and get started. In my source folder here, you're going to see I have a package called Java to Python. Just ignore that. Go ahead and make a new class inside of your source folder and call it whatever you want. I'm going to call mine string basics because that's what this video is about. Again, I'm going to delete the doc string up here. And go ahead and ignore this where it says this package up here. Basically, just what a package is it's like a folder inside of your class path that lets you organize your classes. It's basically just like a folder. Don't include one right now. There's no need for you guys to. I'm just doing that because I have different videos I'm going to be organizing. So ignore the package and ignore where it says package up here because that's just saying that this class is inside of the package Java to Python relative to the class path. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So we have our class string basics. We'll go ahead and create our main method, static void main string array args. We'll open that up. So let's go ahead and create a string real quick. You remember how to do that, right? We have to determine what type it's going to be. We just had string type, so we're going to say string, and we're going to name our variable. So we're going to call it greeting, and we're going to say it's equal to hello world. Awesome, we have our string variable, right? Now in Java, do you remember I said everything's an object? Well, in Python you had these really cool functions you could do, right? Like if I wanted to get the string of that variable, if I wanted to get the length of that variable, I'd just say len, and then I'd pass it in as an argument, right? And what that would do is it would be calling the length function, the len function, passing in greeting, and it returns to me the length of greeting, right? Well, because everything's an object in Java, we have to access it, all the properties of that object using methods. So if I want to get the length of greeting, let's store it in another variable. We'll say int length, and we'll say is equal to greeting dot. And what it's going to do is it's going to show you all of the different methods, the public methods you can call from the string class or the string objects. That's what it is. And in IntelliJ, it's really nice because you can see all of it right here. It tells you what arguments you have to plug into it, well, what parameters it has, and it also tells you the return type of that method. So we can see here if I'm calling length, it's going to return an integer, the length of the string, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and say greeting.length. And we're going to close it with a semicolon. So what this is going to do is it's going to be saying, hey, I have this string and I'm getting the length of it. So it's going to return me an integer. And I'm storing it inside of this integer variable length. And one thing I didn't cover in the last video is how to make something print out on screen, right? What the equivalent for print whatever is in Java, right? So the equivalent is going to be system with capital S dot out dot print line, and you're going to pass in the argument that you want printed to the screen. So we're going to say length, and I don't want to really talk about what all that is, but basically that's just how you print stuff out on the screen. So we have our length there. We're getting it from the string, a variable, and we're printing it out to the screen. So let's go ahead and run that. 13. So the size of that string is 13. It's 13 characters long, including the space, right? So that is, like I said, this would be the equivalent of saying len greeting in Python, right? So what's something else we could do with strings? Well, what if we wanted to index at a certain position in there? What if we wanted to pull a certain character out of the string? Not necessarily pull it, but access that certain character, right? So one thing I'd like to note real quick is strings are immutable. I can't say, this string at this index is now, I can't change what that is, basically. I can't change this E here to an H. It doesn't work that way. But what I can do is access that character and pull out of the string. By pull it out, I just mean, access the character. So what we do is we say, let's create a new character variable. We'll say character, character is equal to greeting dot, and then the method for it is char at, and then we have to pass in an integer for the index of that character. So greeting dot, we'll say char at, and we have to pass an index. So let's say just index 0, right? And what that's going to do is it's going to grab the 0th index, the character at the 0th index of this greeting variable. which in this case is going to be this capital H. So if I print character and run it, it's going to print me that capital H. Cool, right? So let's say another thing we could do, and this would be the equivalent of greeting 0. That would be the Python syntax for that. That would be how you do it in Python. This would be the equivalent. And we're just storing it inside of this. We don't have to store it inside of a variable, by the way. I could say character dot, or I could say, in my print thing, I could say greeting dot char at, and then I could say 0. And I don't even have to use this. And if I run that, it's still going to print out that H, right? So we're just doing that so that we can see what's going on step by step. Now, what if I wanted to break it up, substring it at a certain thing, right? So when I say substring, what I mean is in Python, let's say I had, hello, a variable called hello, and I want it to be equal to, I want to pull the first 5 characters out of this. So I'd say hello equals greeting 0th index to the 5th index exclusive, right? That's going to do is it's going to pull 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, with the 5th being exclusive. So that's what it's going to do in Python, right? So how are we going to do that in Java? Well, let's create a new string, and we'll call that string hello, and we'll say it's equal to greeting dot, and it's IntelliJ is wonderful. It's already beating me to what I'm doing. What it's going to be doing is what we're going to be the method we're going to be accessing is called substring, and it does just that. It substrings, or it slices that string and pulls from the indexes you determine. And there's 2 different substring methods we can call. One being where it takes in one parameter called the beginning index. And what this is going to do is it's when you plug in an index here, it's going to go to that index of the string, inclusive, and it's going to start there. So this string is going to be equal to whatever that string is at that index all the way to the end. The other one we have is, I'll just type substring so we can see it, is where we plug in the end index as well. So I could say, hey, let's pull the string from this index to this index exclusively, and that's going to be what this is. So let me show you what I mean. So greeting is hello, and I want this to be equal to the string hello from here, right? So I'd say is equal to greeting dot substring, and this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to grab the 0th to the 4th character. So when I do substring, we're going to say 0 because that's where it's at the start, all the way up until the 5th index, because the 5 is going to be exclusive. So it's going to stop here, which means we're pulling this. We're accessing those 5 characters, right? We're going to close it. So now if I print hello, what it's going to do is it's going to print hello that we got from that string up there. That's pretty neat, right? So what else can we do? Let me show you for the sake of argument. Let me say we're going to say this one's going to be equal to the rest, right? Or the rest of the string. So just remaining string. We'll say that. Forgive my terrible variable names. So to show you what I mean when I say we could do this with one argument, we're going to say greeting.substring, and we're just going to plug in 5 here. And then we're going to say remaining, we're going to print out remaining string here. We're going to run it, and it's going to be from the 5th index inclusive, so this is index 5, all the way to the end of the string. So that's where we're getting that comma world. So now we have both pieces of that string, right? This would be in Python, this would be the equivalent of greeting. This first one would be the equivalent of greeting index to 5, right? The beginning index all the way to the 5th. So maybe it's that. And then, and for this one, this would be the equivalent of 5 to the end, right? So that'd be how you achieve this in Python. So this would be the equivalent for that. So I'm going to go ahead and put the comments there so that you can see this would be, you know, Python equivalent. Comments are done in Java using double slashes, by the way, not the hashtag symbols or the pound sign. So Python equivalent for this would be greeting 0 through 5, and the Python equivalent for this one's going to be greeting 5 forward. Cool, so we have that. Now, let's talk about concatenation. Let's create a new string, and we're going to call this one concatenate string is equal to, now there's 2 ways we could do this. One, we say hello, and then we just use the plus operator, which we can use for strings, and we'll type in remaining string. And what that's going to do is it's going to concat, concatenate string, And what this is going to do is it's going to concat the first two string variables together, so that when we print this, we're going to get hello world. See that? Now, the other thing we could do is if we have two strings, the better way to concat strings isn't using the plus operator. We call these .concat and we just pass in the next string as an argument. And it's going to do the same thing. It's going to run hello world, but it's going to do it's a better way to concat. If you have two strings and you need to put them together, you want to call concat, because it's faster and it's more syntactically and more it's better convenient. You should do it that way. It's still perfectly legal to use the plus operator for that, but if you know it's two strings you're using, which in this case it is, that's how we're going to do it. So I'm already at 11 minutes, so I'm going to cut this video short. There's going to be a part 2 for strings, and then part 2 we're going to talk about, like, last index of, and we're going to break it apart in like characters arrays and stuff like that. We're going to play with strings a little bit more in the second video so that you could really see what's going on. But you can find the source code for this on my website. I'll post all that, and in the second video we'll talk about this a little bit more. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.